Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode with Nafajat. Nafajat is a program that is meant to help bridge the gap between the young and old people like me, And every time we're trying to talk to someone who has an experience or they're being successful at what they do or being a role model in their community. And today I am honored to have one of our young, amazing Sudanese young ladies, Samah. Samah, if you don't mind, tell everyone who you are and just give us a brief introduction.
Hello, everyone. My name is Samah. I am a first generation Sudanese American, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, but I currently reside in Pennsylvania. I'm currently in school to be a neonatal nurse, but on the side, I also am a female entrepreneur and I specialize in curating organic cold pressed natural skincare products that target anything from eczema to severe acne to everything in between and just making you comfortable from within and to help you grow and glow today and forever, of course.
We are honored that you're here with me, honestly. Um, First, let's start with how did you get here? Here, meaning the business. Let's talk about your education, upbringing, and what led you to choose what you're doing right now.
Okay. So my parents came here actually super early, starting with my father in the early 80s. And then my mother came along in around like the late 90s. So I was born in Brooklyn and I was raised in Brooklyn and now I'm in Philly. And growing up, as a preteen to a young adolescent, you go through a bunch of hormonal changes as your body changes from a child's body to a young adult's body. So I suffered with something called cystic acne. And basically, and just to generalize, the cystic acne is basically cysts that are pus filled and can generally be super painful as they were for me. I went to countless dermatologist appointments to try to fix my issue. It made me believe and uphold a negative self-image of myself. Felt like people saw my acne before they saw me, and it was just detrimental to me in totality. So eventually I decided to take care of it. Gained a lot of inspiration from my Sudanese culture as well as online research and firsthand situations that I've been in that I've learned to take one thing from each spot, put it together. And after I want to say like a year and a half, I came up with some solutions.
So, with the Samah solution, as you just mentioned to us, this is came out from your own personal experience. Sorry, I my camera is off for some reason. For the Samah solution, that came, as you said, from your experience with acne and with self-image. How does that affect a young person like you? Any type. It doesn't have to be just a cyst, or it doesn't have to be acne, or it doesn't have to be anything. Because one of the issue that we hear all the time is minimizing young people's problems. Somebody might look at you and say, this is not a problem." I've been guilty with some of that with my own kids, and so we just want to get into your brain, like young people brain. How is this affecting you, and why is it important to have a good self-image, whether that being with your friends in school or people around you in the community, and the effect of that in your mental and growth, overall growth.
Mhm. So to start off with how I dealt with the problem, in general,
Hmm.
when I have any type of problem, either it being in with myself or with family or friends, it's important that you first go ahead and acknowledge the problem, be clear on what the target is that we're actually supposed to fix and what we want to fix, and have an idea of what the outcome you want is, so you know what you're striving for, you know you don't miss that specific target. And then after that, once you have the target, it's in between is the game plan. So you go ahead and get to the drawing board, figure out what is it do I have to do or to go ahead and fix this issue and move forward and grow from it. And also, out of every situation, either it be bad as you think it is, there's always something good in it. And you just have to like dig a little deeper and see what the good actually is that's in the situation. Because I always believe, for example, cystic acne was one of the worst things that could have happened to me. Like I said, I'm gonna dig into the negative self-image after in a little bit. But even having went through everything that I did go through, it created one of the best things that I ever currently have in my life, which is Samah Solutions. So that was my good in the situation. I knew I wanted to go ahead and fix my problem, but when I was 16 and didn't know a thing about what was going on, I was just going to my appointments with the dermatologist, being prescribed like Accutane and retinols and different topicals to go ahead and deal with the target issues that I was experiencing. I ended up waking up and I was like, you know what? No, this is not what I want. I know I want to fix my issue, but I didn't know how. So the work in between that I was talking about at the drawing board, I went ahead and I started researching. I started speaking to my mother, and that's another way to go ahead and fix one of your issues. Don't try to deal with it all by yourself. It's a lot to take in, and I know we are hyper independent. I don't know about everybody, but being a foreigner in a different country, it's up to you to learn the language. It's up to you to learn the system. It's up to you to learn every single thing. Everything is new. It's a foreign land, but don't feel alone because you aren't alone. And it's important to talk to other people, especially about your issues. So I spoke with my mom. I let her know about what was going on and I needed help. So this is where the Sudanese culture comes in a little bit. Before, my mom would always go to any party, any event, any wedding. I would always see her mix up things in the kitchen and put it on her face. And she would always say, it's a Sudanese word like a lokocha. She's like, di lokocha le washi, and it's gonna help me. And I'd be like, oh, okay, nice. But I would always be like, and it just stuck in the back of my mind, but I didn't do anything with it until I realized maybe I can cook up my own lokocha in the kitchen and put it on my face to help me glow because they made my mom look good. So I was like, it made me look good too. So even having my mom have her own input in my skin journey and everything, letting me know what to use, what not to use was a major help in helping me source one of actually my base carrier oils in the serum. So definitely always look out for help because you're not alone. Have a game plan of what the issue is and how you're going to fix the issue because it's not just going to wake up one day and just flip. It's not going to do a 180. The only thing putting you between your dreams and what you want in life is work. So just make sure you get to the nitty gritty and figure out what you need. And also it takes a team to go ahead and do anything.
and بس حقول حاجة أحب للناس اللي بيسمعوا فينا هسه. سماح بتعرف تتكلم عربي كويس جدا، لكن إحنا يعني طالبونا كم أسرة وكم شباب من أولادنا وبناتنا اللي تربوا برا السودان وما بيعرفوا العربي بصورة قوية. فعشان الفايدة تعم حنعمل مرات بعربي ومرات بإنجليزي في كل جمعة، يعني ممكن نغير عشان تصل لأكبر عدد من الناس. ولو في نقطة هنا مهمة وأنا ولا سماح شايفين إنه ممكن نقولها بإنجليزي وعربي في نفس الوقت، حنقوم نعمل الحاجة دي. فالمهم okay, so that brought us to an important part. You just said briefly how your mom and the way she models things in front of you influenced your decision. دي نقطة أساسية يا سماح، أنا حقولها بالعربي معلش. حاجة سماح قالتها بكل بساطة، يعني إنه كانت بتشوف لما بتشوف أمها قبل مناسبة قبل عرس بتخلط خلطات بتعملها في وشها، ونحن كلنا تربينا وشفنا الحاجات دي في بيوتنا. فده بيورينا إنه الأثر بتاع سلوكيات الأم والأب الأخوان، حتى لو كانت حاجة بسيطة من أبسط، يعني the simple act or modeling of a behavior or anything in front of your kids is very important. Can you like elaborate on this? What part, like I'm not talking about the skincare now, we're talking about the main goal for us to have the gap, to bridge that gap, is to communicate between young people and adults or parent to see that some of the things that we do, it affects you guys negatively. and also the good things that your parent model, whether that being open with you, having communication, or whatever, like having a job, having, a strong personality, talking to you on how you take care of issues in a life, all of that will have an effect on the person, either positively or negatively. Can you elaborate in this for us?
Okay. So I was super grateful to parents who are very open with us. I have four other siblings. I have two sisters and two brothers, and I'm number three of five, the middle child. So it's a big family. And the way they raised us, I would like to think, was a little different than the typical Sudanese upbringing. It was very important and very known for us in our family to always speak your mind. Always speak your mind. There's a lot of people in the house, so somebody may not always see something as the way you would see it, or take something in the way you would take it, and you never want your boundaries to be gone over, if that makes sense. So my parents were always, they always taught us to have an open mind and also always speak your mind. So growing up, this actually helped me always stand up for myself. It always helped me make sure I'm in the right situations, and to also never basically never have my opinions or my own ideas shadowed by somebody else, and to just be firm and be strong in who I am and carry my identity and everything else. Also, importantly, my family really emphasized basically like the five love languages, physical touch, always giving us hugs, always giving us kisses, making sure that we know we're loved. Also, words of affirmation, making sure that they say, oh, I love you, my daughter, or good job, or congratulations, or, always making sure that you're acknowledged and seen and heard, because that makes the child want to progress more. When you know you have your family behind your back in everything that you do, I promise you, nothing in the world is impossible. Having your family by your side is one of the most important things ever in the world. And I'm so grateful that God had, alhamdulillah, blessed me with two parents that were such a great embodiment of that, because I feel like that really made a difference in who I am, especially as an adult. From a child, it's very important to have those key things in your personality that make you strong as a person, because well into adulthood, you have to relearn these things. So having that solid foundation as a child from the start just made the world of a difference.
أتمنى إنه I hope everyone listened to us right now and heard what I just heard, because this is the foundation of any healthy family and healthy relationship. So I want to thank your mom and dad. I want to truly thank them for what they did and what they model to you to create a beautiful human being like you. واحدة من الحاجات اللي ذكرتها سماح إنه لغة الحب like الفايف love language basically اللي أنت ممكن توصل بها لطفلك يا إما تحسسه بإنه كل الحاجات اللي هو بيعمل فيها دي كويسة وأنت واقف جنبه بتسمعه. عندنا ناس كتار ما بيوصلوا الإحساس بتاع الحب ده بطريقة تربيتنا نحن. الخجل، الأهل أصلا ما تعودوا إنه الأم والأبو بيحضنوا أطفالهم بيقول لهم أنا فخور بكم ولا أنا بحبكم. So we have a lack of expressing our emotion to our kids. And المثل السوداني اللي بيقول اللي ما بتشوفه في بيت أبوك بيخلعك. Whatever you don't see or exposed to at your parents' house, it become like a shock to you when you're out in a society. So if you are deprived from love, deprived from attention, you are going to automatically seek attention somewhere else or seek love somewhere else. So the foundation, having that foundation from your parent is ethical, and not ethical, I meant it is like crucial for your outbringing, growing up and your life, right? So how did that impact you going to school? You had the love, you had the attention, there is an open communication, whatever in your mind you say it, and you get you're not just told no, but why no, or not told yes, but also explained. So how does that impact you going to school?
Okay, so going to college specifically, yeah? Or do you? So
in general, like even when you start, like most people here, when they go to elementary school or middle school, the parents are worried about maybe being bullied or peer pressured to doing things that you shouldn't be doing. So they, from that fear, they basically either isolate their kids or like not allowing them to be around people or to even be in their life in school. So that's instead of them raising the kids to see the wrong and the right and to choose the right, not because they were feared or forced to do it, but because they have the knowledge. This is not the road that I want to do. And even if the friends peer pressure you, trying to peer pressure you on doing something, you know when to say yes or no. So let's just start from like elementary school, middle school, high school, whatever, before college. And if you don't mind, like talk to us about how that impact you in the school setting and help you or they didn't help you with decision making. And you can give example if you know someone, like you don't have to give names, or even you, whatever you feel comfortable sharing as an example of why this is a good thing and why it's not.
Okay. So starting off with elementary school, that was when I still lived in Brooklyn. When my family first came here and we all started going to school, the first thing that they let us know was that you are different. Basically always reminding us that you're Sudani first and then American next. So what you learn at school might not apply to, for example, when you come home. And also with the whole "you are different" thing, they told me that not with a negative connotation, it was more so with a positive connotation, highlighting our uniqueness. What we bring to the table is something different. Our cuisine is different, our customs are different, what we do in totality is different. So they let us know that and embrace it in a good way so that when bullying would arise, because I wasn't immune to bullying, I did also get bullied myself. I am very tall. I'm 5'11" and I'm quite slim. So back then I was made fun of for my height. When they would put us in height order, I was always the last one in the back because of my height. So that was something that I was picked on. And then also being African back then, now it's, of course, such a beautiful thing. But back then, it wasn't glorified as much as it is today. So that was also another thing that I was picked on, unfortunately. But having that strong foundation, again, back home where my parents emphasized our uniqueness and that we bring something else to the table, something new, something different, something vibrant, it made me realize, like, I have something that not per se you're lacking, but I have this aspect about me which is different and sets me out. So again, it highlights my individuality and makes me a one of one. So while you're trying to make fun of me, whole time my parents already made me feel loved at home. I felt fulfilled from home. So I wasn't, like you said, you highlighted a little bit where sometimes people go outside to the real world to look for love, to look for validation. But when you already have that from back home instilled in you, you're kind of invincible. And when you see somebody trying to throw hate at you or to try to diminish your character, it just reminds you that you're mad and it's okay, because not everybody in the world is going to be happy-go-lucky. Everyone is dealing with something, but as long as you're fulfilled and you're strong in yourself, who you are, what you carry, what you embody, I promise you nobody could taint your image or your character. And as long as you know who you are and in the inside, that's important. So again, it started off from home. That's why I give everything to my parents. So that helped guide me through elementary school. Middle school was the same thing. You're getting a little older, people are getting bigger, your body is starting to change. So you are changing as a person physically, mentally, emotionally. And that's where my parents and their upbringing became even more important as I grew up, because the situations that I was starting to be in and the friend groups that I was starting to be in was starting to change, because you always want to not really be seen at, you want to be seen basically and be perceived as somebody that is cool. That's, every kid wants that. And sometimes you might fall into, moving with the wrong crowd or doing something stupid. But again, having your parents behind your back and them always telling you, not, oh, this is bad, don't do this, and not telling you why. My parents took the other route, not only telling us why it's not bad, but they went a little further and they showed us that what it could lead to. So like for example, you know, drugs is a big thing that affects everybody. No one is immune to it. It affects everybody. So they tell me, okay, if you're hypothetically speaking, if you're gonna go ahead and go do this drug, you're gonna want more because your body builds a tolerance. So you want something stronger. You're gonna go do this, and then this affects this, and then this affects this. Now you're late from work. Now you're fired. Now you're unemployed. And basically, you get the gist of it. So my parents always went the long road, and that helped me see, like, take a step back and look at everything more differently. Rather than if you just tell me no, 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 I might do it just because you're telling me no. But if you tell me why it's bad and that it leads to this and it leads to that and it leads to this, and I see the grand scheme of things, that has a bigger lasting impression and impact on the child. So it's very important that you go ahead and give the full picture to the child rather than just saying, no, 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 don't do this, it's bad. And when the kid goes like, ليه في شنو, don't just say بس كده. It's not بس كده, it's more. Tell them why so they understand and they won't go back to it because they have this newfound knowledge and not just because oh أمي قالت لي لا أو أبوي قال لي لا.
I want you to say this in Arabic if you can, because this is very important.
Okay.
الحتة بالذات I'll help you. بالذات الحتة بتاعت الآباء والأمهات إنهم بيشرحوا لأطفالهم. You explain to your kids everything step by step. بتشرحوا لهم خطوة بخطوة. لو في حاجة حصلت كعبة أو أنتوا يا دوب هم صغار بتربوا فيهم، عايزين تقول لهم إنه المخدرات كعبة مثلا، إنه المدارس حتلقوا في شفاع عندهم مخدرات. they're gonna provide drugs. they're gonna come to you and say, you know, drugs to make you cool. حاجة حتخليكم تكونوا يعني popular والناس يحبوكم وكده. طبيعي. if you explain to your kids شرحت لهم إنه حتمروا بالحاجة دي وكيف تقولوا لا. ليه تقولوا لا؟ لأنه المخدرات كده شرح أفضل من إنه تقول لهم بس خلاص كده عشان أنا أمك عشان أنا أبوك. I just said because I said so. So this is an area that if you can just say briefly something about this in Arabic, because this is very important. And also that people الكيوريازيتي حب الاستطلاع بيقتل الكنيسة، مش كده؟ curiosity kill the cat. A lot of people will try things. الأطفال حيجربوا طبيعة البشر كده. إنه لو قلت لي لا ما تعمل الحاجة دي كعبة، أنا حكون طوالي راسي مشغول إنه ليه لا، عايزة أجرب to just experience it. But if you explain, show me and sit down وتشرح, it will make me understand and not want to try it. ما بحاول أجربها عشان أنا عارف إن there is consequences. هتأثر فيك في قرايتك، هتدخل السجن، مستقبلك حيضيع. all of this, give the whole picture. So yeah, if you can say that in Arabic, or otherwise we can move on.
I try to the best of my abilities. So دايما الطفل you know what دايما الطفل بيتركز عن why it's you know what, let's do it بالإنجليزي.
لا قولي خلاص، قولي بالانجليزي. ليه؟ واي از ليه انت قولي وانا بقول لك بالعربي. الاطفال دايما بيسالوا ليه. انت
Yeah.
قلت لي لا. why do you say no, right?
وبس كلمة لا، يعني كلمة لا خفيفة أو وذاتها ثقيلة. خفيفة in the way that ما يعني it doesn't answer my question. خفيفة شديد, it's very vague.
yeah
وثقيلة in the way بس تقولي للطفل لا مرات بيزعل وبيكون زهجان ودايما يعني بيطلع either من البيت يمشي to go get their answer, يمكن من الأصحاب أو من maybe a teacher. لكن فكر الأم أكيد دايما أحسن من فكر الأصحاب because الأصحاب they don't always have the best interest for you. You know what I mean? وأمك وأبوك في النهاية they always want to see you do your best and not everyone has the same interest. So when the child is always told no and they go ahead and look for answers from من برا البيت, it's not gonna
mm-hmm.
have the best outcome. So to prevent your child from going outside and looking for those answers, it's better to just
اديها
give
لهم في
everything.
البيت.
Yeah, زي ما قلتي.
So the bottom line, a good advice، نصيحة جميلة جدا من بنتنا سماح، إنه الأم والأب حاولوا أدوا أطفالكم النصايح، المعلومات، الحاجات اللي ما عايزينهم يعملوها وروهم ليه ما يعملوها، لأنها دي بتأثر،
بالكل.
it affects في everything. Yes. في
Yeah,
حتات كثيرة. Yeah. Go ahead.
اه وبس كنت داير اقول اديهم الادفايس بالكل، يعني ما تخاف if how they're going to take the information, because في النهاية this is the real world and they will learn it eventually. وزي ما قلت احسن شيء التعليم يجي من البيت، ما يجي من برا، ما يجي من الاصحاب، ما يجي من anywhere else. اهم شيء التربية و all the information يجي من البيت. لكن of course الأم والأبو they don't know everything. There is some certain topics that you might have to learn from outside of the house, and that is 100% fine. لكن in situations زي المخدرات وزي الأصحاب، أهم شيء you learn it من your parents, because in the end they want to see the best in you and they want to see you do good.
The right way, yeah. So basically, what we just like can summarize the last part is they are going to be curious. Kids are out there, whether you like it or not. كان انتوا حابين الكلام ده ولا ما حابين؟ انه اطفالكم بيمشوا مدرسة، they go to school, they ride on a bus، بيركبوا في الباص، بيكون عندهم اصحاب. The time that they spend outside of the house، الزمن اللي بيقضوه برا البيت هو أطول ممكن sometimes than the time they spend at home. So they bound to get information. أكيد حتلاقيهم معلومات، ممكن تكون معلومات خطأ أو معلومات not just wrong information but it could be harmful، حاجات مضرة بالنسبة لهم. But we need to start like sharing, talking early on. What would you say, like the earliest that parent can be open with their kids?
I believe as early as when they learn their manners, when they learn when to say thank you, when to say you're welcome, when to say excuse me, when to say, kida kida, because that's when you're learning, that's when you can go ahead and positively condition a child. Because as early as they learn their ABCs, it's as early as you can negatively condition a child. So the earliest you can negatively condition a child, go ahead and try to take the step already and positively condition the child. So as early as, I want to say, like maybe 5 to 6, كده kindergarten.
يلا كلام سماح انه يعني اطفالكم مجرد ما يبدوا يتعرفوا عليه، يعرفوا الحروف، يعرفوا كيف يكتبوا، يعرفوا كيف يتبعوا التعليمات او الارشادات، ده الزمن اللي انت ممكن او انت ممكن تبدوا تتكلموا معاهم فيه وتكونوا معاهم صريحين. وطبعا بيكون في يعني اختبارات للعمر. There is some things that you can share with the 5 or 6 years old, and there's things that you cannot share with them. You're gonna save it for 8, 9, 10. But start have that open communication. خلوا الصراحة وإنه يحسوا بالأمان. When I say that, I wanted to hear it from someone your age. عايزة أسمعها من زولة في عمرك. الإحساس بتاع الأمان إنك أنت تقدر تجي تتكلم مع أمك. The safety. For you to feel safe to come to your mom or dad, whether you made a mistake or somebody made a mistake or you just want to vent, talk to them. How is that developed between the parent and the kids? And you speak from your kid part. Well, I'm sure that
Yeah.
was developed between you and your parent. And is it something
Yeah.
that important we have to, as parent, to look forward to?
So as I've mentioned before, it was something that was started since my early years, but as I grew up a little bit, I want to say going into Al-Ali, so high school, you become a teenager, a little stubborn, you want to start becoming more independent, so you're changing a little bit. So I realized I did start retracting a little bit more from my parents. There are conversations that I have with my mom that I wouldn't have with my dad, and vice versa. But I'm always a mommy's girl, so me and my mom always spoke on a deeper level. But as I grew up and I realized, that's why I kept emphasizing that, friends don't always have the best interests for you. And after being in many situations where you think people would want or have the best interest for you, and it quite isn't that, I felt lost. I didn't go to, because the people who I would go to, showed me another face. So I eventually started venting, which is basically, my mom became my therapist. I would tell my mom everything that's going on, and she would always guide me on what to do. And like people always say, your mother is always right. So having that, just knowing that I always have somebody to talk to and somebody to give me advice, it makes me feel like I'm not alone. So when I am tackling situations or I'm in a certain situation, I'm able to know that, hey, I always have somebody that I can go back to, and is another set of eyes, and somebody that has another different brain that is wired completely different. It's a whole different person. So they're going to look at a situation in a different lens. So maybe I didn't pick up something, or I interpreted something the way it wasn't supposed to be interpreted. Once my mom sees it, she can be like, oh, hey, maybe Samah, maybe you were wrong here, or Samah, maybe they were wrong here. But always having somebody that you can talk to and can interpret what you're going through is great, because, like I said, you get enough opinions and their set of advice. And also, we're not always 100% right, and you have to take accountability. We're not always right. So having somebody be able to tell you, hey, Samah, maybe you're not right, or maybe you're wrong, it's great, because I can look at myself and be able to digest that and work on myself. And at the end of the day, I'm progressing myself, because I'm able to take in this criticism and flip it into something that I can benefit off of.
Thank you. As a parent, I'm going to say that it goes both ways. And I know a lot of Sudanese parents don't think they should have respect for their kids, or they should have like the same treatment for their kids. They expect the kids to just respect them blindly, which I am not. Like, that's not something. Yeah, you should respect your parent, but also as a parent, you want to give your kids a little bit of respect. Just the communication. There is a question here. I want you, first of all, thank you for everyone that comments and said nice stuff about our lovely young lady here, Samuha. Everyone love what you said, and they all like agreeing with you. But Mukhtar Adam says how he can say to his son that smoke is damaging for health if he still smoking. So if يا مختار I understood, لو أنا فهمت سؤالك صح، أنت بتسجر, you smoke as a parent, أنت بتسجر, and your son, you want to advise him, عايز تنصح ولدك إنه التدخين ضار بالصحة. You wanna tell your son that smoking is not good for him, but you smoke yourself. أنت ذاتك بتسموك. فأنا حخلي سماح تجاوب على السؤال ده,
Okay.
وأنا بعد ذاك I'll say my input, but take it.
Okay. So to prevent your son from going down the same road that you have, I think the best thing is for you to stand as the leading example of what you want your son to be. Because at the end of the day, our parents are our inspiration. We always want to grow up to be like them. I always say I wish to be half the man my mother is, and vice versa. My brothers say the same thing about my father. So you have to stand as an example of what you want your son to be. I would 100% recommend trying to give up smoking. There's other alternatives. You can go ahead and do nicotine patches that will eventually lower down your tolerance, and eventually you would not want to smoke at all. Also, show your son the benefits of what you can do in the time segments that you do smoke. So I'm assuming it's 15 minutes per cigarette or whatever it can be. So maybe if you show your son that you're actively quitting, show him what you're doing in those 15 minutes that you would go ahead and take a cigarette break. So maybe pick up a book, show him, hey, I'm increasing my knowledge, or I'm basically doing something that would benefit you. Maybe, hey, I'm going on a walk. So that helps me in my health, helps me with everything else. And also just just let him know why you wouldn't want him to go down this road. Show him the physical effects, the blackening of the lips, the yellowing of the teeth, the potential gingivitis, and other, health concerns that come with smoking. And maybe also show him the rates of deaths per year from cigarette smokers, the long-lasting effects that can occur, like cancer and this and that, and also maybe tell him about the actual ingredients that are found in. I know one of them is like rat poison, and that's not, of course, not good. So maybe highlight all of those. Tell him this is what you're actually putting in your body for that little bit of, satisfaction. في النهاية, just let him know that it's not worth it. And you have to stand as an example, and show him why.
So before I take it from you and answer a little bit for Mukhtar here, do you think as a young person, if for example, you're Mukhtar's son at this point, and the father is still smoking, and they're telling you, okay, smoking is bad. You obviously going to have question. Why are you doing it? It's bad. And why are you not letting me? Is any way there a parent can continue smoking? And I'm going to answer, I'm going to just respond to what you said and then let you answer this. If there is an area where he can, for example, if he doesn't want to give up smoking, he can like explain it and be honest and tell him, okay, I'm doing it, but you don't have to do this. And before you answer, I'm just going to say something to Mukhtar in Arabic. بنتنا سماح قالت ليكم إنه لو للسؤال بترد على السؤال بتاع الأب اللي بيسأل لو ولده شايفه هو بيسجر مثلا، وهو عايز يشرح لولده إنه التدخين مضر وما عارف يوصلها له كيف أو الطريقة الأفضل شنو. رد سماح إنه أفضل حاجة إنك أنت ذاتك كأب وأم تحاول توقف التدخين أو توقف أي حاجة غلط. يعني the first thing you could do to be a model, a role model for him, and what you call it, practice what you preach. So الحاجة اللي أنت عايز طفلك ما يعملها أنت تحاول توقفها. First of all, توقف التدخين لأسباب كثير. أول حاجة ده بيفلس بيك. It costs a lot of money. We can talk about the financial impact on how much you pay for a cigarette. Health-wise, بصحتك ممكن تديو examples. You can try to stop. ممكن تحاول أنت ذاتك تدخله معاك في الحاجة دي إنه أنا I'm gonna stop and we can do it together. بدلا تجيب بديل. Instead of smoking, what is a healthy way? معظم الناس اللي بيدخنوا أو they smoke, they say it's because it relieves the stress. Okay, find a way, a healthy way to relieve the stress, right? So tell him, instead of you smoking, even if he smokes, the father smokes, he can tell him, we can find healthy ways for you to relieve your stress, or like do something that is not going to be harmful for you. But I still stand behind anything that we want to tell our kids not to do. We have to model it ourselves. You cannot say, I don't want you to do drugs and you're doing drugs. I don't want you to lie and you're lying. I don't want you to steal and you're someone who is taking advantage, stealing or doing stuff like wrong things. So لازم نحن نحسن better our way of living in a household so we can show our kids عشان ما نوريهم إنه it can be doable. Because if it's hard for you as a father to quit, لو صعب عليك أنت كأب تبطل تدخن ولا أي حاجة كعبة، أكيد طفلك ما حيسمح كلامك أول حاجة، أو حيفتكر إنها هي حتكون صعبة بالنسبة له the same way. So just elaborate on that area if you want to, on how can, if he doesn't quit, if there is a way for you as a child to listen to your parent. If they tell you, don't do this, and you see them doing it, is that hypocrisy or something that you're okay?
I feel like it definitely falls into that section of hypocrisy, because I feel like I will start to question, because like I said, a child questions almost everything every day. If you tell them, oh, change your shirt, they're going to be like, why? So if you do something like smoking and you don't want your child to smoke, but you continuously do, you continuously do smoke, I feel like it would create kind of sort of a domino effect where if your child gives advice on something else or wants to know about something, you say no, but you continue to do it, the child might resent your judgment, not you, but resent your judgment on certain topics and might want to go ahead and continue doing certain things their way because they're like, if my dad says smoking is bad, but he continues to smoke, so maybe if I wake up one day and I want to go smoke, I should still do it because my father, who I love and I look up to, thinks if he thinks it's okay, then I think it's okay and that should be fine. So, like I said, the child won't resent you, but they might resent your judgment. And it might make it cloudy for them when they make their own judgments in their own situations for their own problems. So it becomes a little tricky topic and it falls into trust a little bit. And you always want to have the utmost trust and respect and, just vulnerability between you and your child. So doing something like that, I feel like will be detrimental to it. So I preferably would just try to go ahead and give it up completely and just try to be the best example I can to the best of my ability to my child.
Amazing, amazing. And when you show لما انت توري او انت توري اطفالك الحاجات الصح بانك انت بتعمليها في نفسك بيكون بعد ذاك عندك ذات القوة. You have the power of saying this is bad and I don't do it and you don't do it because one, two, three. But in all cases في كل الأحوال حتى لو أنتوا كبيرنت شايفين إنه أنا ما عايزة أخلي الأب الفاذر دي ما عايزة أخلي مثلا ما أنت خليك يعني صريح اتكلم مع طفلك وريه اشرح له و I hope إنه أنت you quit and you show him توريه as a role model. طيب okay يلا نحن النقطة we're gonna move to the next part about what would be we just talked about some of the struggles that you or anybody might face in elementary middle school. You mentioned bullying. We know that happens a lot, and especially in our community. And when our community, I mean minority in general, there is a lot of differences. Maybe before I had like a whole show about one of the young ladies who goes to like elementary school, no, middle school, and her mom will come to pick her up, smelling like food and wearing like raggedy clothes and things like that. So we did talk about our presentation. It is not just going to affect us as parents, but it is going to impact our kids. It doesn't matter. We're not talking about go buy brand names. We're just saying simply like shower, dress nicely. When you go to the school, act with grace and respect. Also, learn the language because at some point, your kids are going to feel ashamed having you there. And not because they're disrespectful, but because their friends are bullying them about that or they're like making them feel some kind of way. So have you experienced this? I'm not saying you personally, you've seen it, or even if you haven't experienced it, what advice would you give to the parent when they are with their kids in a school, outing, anywhere? How are they supposed to act? The importance of learning the language or the culture. So if you can talk to us about that, I appreciate it.
So to shed light on the importance of American culture. So like I said, my dad has came here to specifically Brooklyn since the early 1980s. He was here. My mom was here from the late 90s. So they have been here for quite some time before I came into this world. So luckily they have already learned English. My mother still has an accent, of course, till this day, but my father, you wouldn't even know he was Sudani unless he told you. But my mother, one thing she didn't do, she never gave up. She enrolled herself in community college, and she took ESL classes to go ahead and perfect her English as much as she could to the best of her abilities. She watched shows that spoke in English to go ahead and learn and build on her vocabulary. when she went out to the supermarkets, she would try not to use back in the days they would use like Google Translate to try to go ahead and speak. She tried not to use that. She tried to get her words across and read signs on the road. I remember we would used to do that when we would go on road trips to help her pronounce certain words. Like, for example, when the G is silent in the word thought, we would explain to her why not. So one thing about my mother, she never gave up. She continued to go ahead and solve her issue by, going to the classes, speaking to people. And in terms of cultural dress and smell, I'm not going to say that I didn't go through a day where my backpack accidentally smelled like tabikh and they're like, oh, what's that smell? And I'm like, but I would tell my parents, and like I said, they would always make me, alhamdulillah, make me feel heard, seen. So my mom would make sure always that the windows were open, and after she would finish cooking, that she would go ahead and put bukhur. So ريحة البيت, would be nice, and الطبيخ ما بتتلصق مع الشنط ومع الهدوم. So that was another way that she go ahead and combated that. And also she always reminded me, when you present yourself outside your house, that you're telling the world how you want to be perceived. So again, from an early age, it was always known that make sure, you take out the dirt in between your eyes before you wake up and go to school. Make sure you put, Vaseline on your face, lotion, make sure you smell good. And especially, of course, when you get old, once we got older, and our body started going through hormonal changes, my parents did sit us down. My mom specifically did sit us down and told us, hey, you might smell different, or hey, this might happen, your body's changing. Here's what you should use. So they always helped combat those issues before they even arose. And my mom, again, with the whole you present yourself how you want to be perceived from an early age. I do remember my mom, thank God, she never dressed raggedy. She always came very well presented, always iron tarha, pin, bukhur. She smelled really nice. So it really did make a difference in me as an adult, because that's the way I move, because again, my parents were always an example.
Thank you for sharing this, because this is one of the, like, you might not even realize it, but it's a huge issue for so many. انت الحمد لله you didn't experience it. بنتنا هسه قالت الطريقة كانت أمها بتقول لها انت طريقتك اللي بتلبسي بيها هي الطريقة الناس حيتعاملوا بيك معاها. the way you smell، ريحتك، كيف انت بتخلي الناس يعاملوكي بالطريقة اللي انت عايزة يعاملوكي بها. يعني if you show people that this is how I want you to treat me, they're going to be bound or forced to treat you the way you want to be treated. الحاجة الثانية الحتة بتاعت when you talk to your kids، لو أولادكم جو قال لك مثلا يا ماما ولا يا بابا أنا ما عايزك تجي المدرسة لابس الهدوم دي، don't say أنت قليل أدب. don't yell at them and say you are disrespectful، أنت بتخجل من أمك وأبوك. It is not that. Yeah, please understand, I was not a kid here, but I have kids and I talk to a lot of kids. So يعني لما الواحد يجي to tell you something, don't go back لحتة أنت قليل أدب، ما تتكلم مع أبوك كده. don't talk to your mom like this. If they brought to your attention، لو جو قال لكم أنت جيت المدرسة الليلة يا ماما ولا يا بابا ريحتك كانت أكل، يعني the response of that lady, she said, well, I'm cooking for them, that's I'm feeding them, I'm cooking all day. ما في excuse. يعني زي ما قالت سماح، her mom بتفتح الشباك، بتبخر البيت بعد، بتقفل الكلازت. يعني we give steps. اتكلمنا قبل كده عن خطوات ممكن تعملها عشان بيتك ما ريحته تبقى زي حلة ملاح، والأم والأب يمشوا المدرسة to cause حاجة. يعني when we opened that discussion, people were like ده الأولاد قليلين أدب ساي. No, it's not. يعني it's not disrespect. They're just going through stress and unnecessarily bullying for no good reason. It could be prevented. صح؟ طيب في الحتة دي يعني لو الأطفال مثلا هسه إحنا we told مثلا the parent few things you need to do. What will be the advice from your experience or your knowledge how the kids can communicate with their parent if their parent are not listening. How can you get your point across without being disrespectful? And like, if you have any tips for our young people out there.
So I've actually been in situations where I've had friends come to me and tell me, hey, how can I get this across to my parents? You know, it's a taboo topic or it's a sensitive topic at most of the time it would be. So one saying that I take very seriously in my life is when you have a problem, don't let it grow into a parasite. Kill it on site. Like, don't let it spread like a parasite because it only gets worse and then lies come into it and then it turns into something completely different. Now you're sneaking around your parents, you're lying around your parents, and when you get caught, I promise you what you were originally going to get in trouble for, you just created it to something different. So when speaking to your parents, maintain your tone. First of all, you want to come across as, I'm not here to fight, I'm not here to argue, I'm here to speak. And also, don't match their voice level. If not always. So if they start yelling, keep your voice at a 3. If they're at a 10, keep your voice at a 3. Because not only does it shows that you're listening to them, and it shows a sense of maturity, and it shows a sense of the respect that you still have for them. Because at the end of the day, even if your parents are wrong, you still have to show respect to them. So along with how you speak to them in the tone of your voice, make sure that I like to come with knowledge when I'm coming to talk to them. Don't just make something up on the spot and be like, okay, I'm going to talk to my parents right now. Because you have to understand, if it's a sensitive topic, a taboo topic, and it's the first time that you're talking to them about it, they're going to retain every single detail that you bring up. So you want to make sure that you're actually prepared about what you're saying. And also, one important thing that I learned is listen to understand. Do not listen to reply. Because, you know, our parents were born and raised in a country that had completely different customs. It's an Islamic country over here. This is, you know, majority a free country per se, free to do everything. يعني الحرة اللي هنا ما كان عندهم نفس الحرة في السودان. So certain things that you might think are okay, they might have it wired up completely different in their heads. So be sensitive around those topics. Make sure you carefully pick out certain words so that everything comes out clearly across and it might not be misconstrued. Try to keep everything within, if you can speak in Arabic, it's the best to try to speak with them in Arabic because they understand the best through that language. And again, just make sure you're listening to understand, because they are going to stop you and they're going to say انت قلة أدب أنا ما ربيتك زي ما ربيتك كذا, or you know, all these different stuff. But make sure to be able to say yes mama or yes baba, I hear you. Make sure you say I hear you, I understand you, but this is how I feel. How do you make sure you also give them a space to say something? How do you feel about this? How can you change my mind on this topic? Also, why is this wrong? Or basically just make sure that there's open communication and that everyone is heard, everyone is seen, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to hurry up and get you guys, you know, the best conversation.
You are wise beyond your age, and I am truly thankful for your mom, your dad, bringing us this beautiful, amazing, smart young lady. And I truly hope everyone that is listening to us, and they will listen later on, they can benefit from what Samah just said, because she's speaking wisdom. And, you know, I truly believe that communication is a key for any issue, whether that being a problem with your parent or anywhere else. And being, you know, for the parent to allow their kids to be themselves and to express what they want. Yes, we are, as parents, we all in fault of yelling or getting back to our grandparent behavior and start, you know, getting that I'm your mother because I said so sometime, but ground yourself. It's so easy to go down that slope if you don't pay attention. And it's a work in progress. You being here, guys, listening to this conversation, interacting, is a good sign that we want to know what's going on in our kids' mind. And we want to be able to help them and we want them to understand us. So Samah, أنا truly I want to thank you about all the wisdom that you give us, and hoping that we will be able to bring you another time to continue the conversation. But now I just want to talk about your journey in the last like 7-10 minutes we have. What like the school, like you went to college, we talked about the school. So if you want to share something about your college experience, and then what you do right now. And lastly, how people can help you with your business if they want to reach out, want to contact you, want to support you, or just learn about what you do. So, yeah.
So my college career wasn't an easy one. Coming into Temple University, as a freshman in 2017, I had out-of-state tuition, which was it was okay. I could handle it for the first 2 years until I was told that I was going to be in-state, which that didn't happen. But anyways, and then COVID hit. So now I was paying out-of-state tuition for Zoom. And well, back in 2017, I was a pre-pharm major, which is pre-pharmacy. I wanted to go to pharmacy school after, but once COVID came and it was something that was completely different, no one had ever done it, went through something like that. My plans changed, which I went ahead and took a couple years off of college, and I came back to college, but I came back in a different major. I came back as a nursing major now, which is what I'm currently pursuing at Westchester University. Hopefully next year I will be the RN Samah Mohammed, inshallah. So that's that. And in
My girl, inshallah, we need our ends. We need you.
hopefully I want to tap into the neonatal nursing field. I want to work in the neonatal unit. I love babies and I just love life. So that's where I want to end up working in. And I remember how I always said that there's always good and some bad. So a little bit before COVID was when I had actually thought to go ahead and launch Samah Solution, and COVID started 2 months after. Wait, yeah, a couple months after. COVID started a couple months after, and once everything went online and not anymore face to face. Before I used to do drop-offs, I used to do meetups, I used to do campus events, but now I have to tend to this crowd in a completely different way, which made me start focusing more on my online relevance, which I was able to, meet up with a great business developer that helped me create an amazing website. We created commercials. So COVID actually benefited me in the way that it taught me on how to go ahead and deal and take my business online rather than when it was more so in-person based. So I started Samah Solutions and online, and I kept building its online presence, and we started touching countries all over the world, from New Zealand to Australia to the UK to the Middle East, of course here in America as well. And it just continued growing. And with nursing, hopefully I would like to take what I learned from nursing and what I learned from online and the research from my culture, and eventually make Samah Solutions a one-stop shop where you can go ahead, get your cleanser, get your toner, get like I said, a one-stop shop completely in totality where you can get your whole skincare routine in one spot. And eventually I would love to see Samah Solutions in department stores and do pop-up shops all over the world. And like I said before, the only thing putting you between your dreams is hard work. And I, thankfully I've made a game plan in my head. God is the best of planners. I have a certain timeline that I want to follow by the end of the day. Of course, I follow God's plan. But those are the plans that I do hopefully, want to see for the brand. I'm aiming for the stars, but the whole time I'm shooting for the moon. You gotta keep going. Anything's possible. It's just as long as it's about how bad you want it. And that's all.
You said it best. I cannot say it any better. And I would love to have you back again, because there is a lot that we didn't cover, or there is too much to unfold. And you are someone I truly like. I hope a lot of young Sudanese women in here can learn from you. We need role models, and you are definitely an inspiration and a role model. I am truly proud of you, and I'm not just saying that. What you're doing now, it is going to go. And remember us when you become the big
Oh,
Samah,
that
but you will. So everyone listening to us right now, let's make Samah's dream reality. We can all help follow. You have a social media, right? So when you finish, if you can go and under the comment and put the links so we can put them up on top and share them with people, and simple as following or subscribing or ordering, trying what she does, talking about it, share it with others. Even if you can't afford to buy or you don't want to try it, share it with people. This is not something is going to cost anything, not going to cost anyone anything, but it will help someone who is actually trying. That's the first thing. And just sitting here for the past almost hour, listening to you, I have no doubt in my mind that you will accomplish and achieve anything that you set your mind to. And we are behind you 100%, support you, and I am proud of you. Proud, proud, proud. So I'm going to do a small, like just fun part. We call it lightning round. So
okay.
you're young. I normally have, when I have like my adult guest, I ask them, what would you tell your 16 years old? That's for the adult, elderly people. So what would you tell your younger version at like a very low time of your life? If you can go back and tell them what is going on right now, what would you say?
I will tell them that this is not the end of the world. I'm somebody I can sometimes be quite dramatic. It's not the end of the world. Things always get better. And also always remind myself to focus on yourself and never lose sight of the goal. Because, growing up and there's distractions left and right, but always keeping your head on the swivel and keeping that tunnel vision is the key to success, and making sure, even after every obstacle, you fall down 9, you get up 10. Don't let anything keep you down. Just always keep going. And also just do it. That was the way I literally started Samah Solutions. I randomly just posted an Instagram post, and I didn't care what people thought. And that was the first time I posted myself without any makeup. Also, just not caring what people think, because there's always going to be someone out there that loves you exactly for who you are, what you embody. So don't care about what anyone has to say about you and your work, because it's going to impress somebody out there.
Amazing, amazing. What you see yourself in the next 5 years? What you answer some of it, but what would be your goal and dream, or something that you really hope that it will happen in the next few years?
In the next 5 years, I definitely see myself well into my field, being a neonatal nurse, being I'm continuing with entrepreneurship. That's not going anywhere. So I would like to see some solutions more established. I would like to grow our exposure. I just want to see myself do more, if that makes sense, in every aspect of my life. And like I said, the sky's the limit. So I don't know what's next. There could be another, something else that's coming up in the works. You never know.
Amazing, amazing. Well, I want to thank you, Samah, and I want to thank everyone that was listening to us and will listen after. And I will put an invitation for you. We will talk after. Anytime that you are willing to come back, we will gladly sit down and listen to your wisdom. I wish you the best, and I want to thank you again for giving me the time.
And I want to thank you for having me here. This was a great experience being able to talk. And I actually learned a lot from you. If you didn't notice, I did learn a lot, and I took some key points that I'm going to go ahead and implement in my life. So thank you for having me. And it was great to be here.
Thank you. Thank you.